What are context clues? Most importantly, how can understanding context clues make us better readers? Let's get started. Context clues. Context clues are hints a reader can use to discover the meanings of unfamiliar words and phrases. In the books that we read, authors include hints to readers. Hints to readers to allow them to figure out what tricky words and words that they may not understand mean. Did someone say discover? Yes. When we read, we may have to look for clues to understand what unknown or tricky words mean. Let me show you. When we read, sometimes we will come upon an unfamiliar word that we don't know and or may have trouble sounding out. I will model. Katie was agra. Now, when this happened, some students may choose to stop reading altogether or stop reading and go find a dictionary to figure out the definition of a word and even how a word is pronounced. I want you to keep in mind 302 that this is something that we should not do. The reason why is because it takes away from our comprehension or our understanding. It takes away our comprehension and our understanding because when we go back to reading after we figured out how the word is pronounced or its definition, we lose track of what we were reading. We lose the flow of the reading. Okay, we're going to look in context clues because if we understand context clues, we can avoid this common mistake. Context clues are very important. Now, boys and girls, I am sure that you are aware of what clues are, but context. Let's discuss what context means. Context is like the setting of a word. The setting of a word. Let me show you an example to explain. Let's look at this picture. You can probably guess what is missing from this picture based on the setting or the context around the missing object. Stop and think if you need to. Pause this video if you need to. What is missing? Look at the setting of this picture. Look at the context. What do you see and what are you wondering? Keeping in mind, what is missing from this picture? What is missing from this picture is a dog. Using context clues is similar. However, before we continue, let's talk about the word context. The prefix for the word context is con. Con means with. Text is written words. Context with written words. We're using written words to help us figure out what unknown or tricky words mean. As a reader, you're looking for clues within the written words to help you understand unfamiliar words or phrases. Now, how will you know where to find them? A word's context includes the words and sentences around it. Where will you find the context? You're going to find the context around the words and sentences around that unknown word. This is where you're going to find clues to meanings of a word that you don't know. Let's look at this sentence again. Katie was aggravated when her little sister kept messing up her room. We're going to use context clues to help us figure out what the word aggravated means. Now, Katie was. That is not giving me a clue. It's just telling me who is that person within the sentence, who is possibly even the main character. I want you to keep on looking down below after that word, aggravated, when her little sister kept messing up her room. Paint a picture in your mind and keeping in mind that context is like the setting of a word. Okay, we're going to try to find out what aggravated means. Well, we know that Katie was something, okay? So we need to read the rest of the sentence to figure this out, just like I just explained. When her little sister kept messing up her room. When her little sister kept messing up her room. So what can Katie be if her little sister is messing up her room? Stop and think. A word's context includes words and sentences around it. Aggravated when her little sister kept messing up her room. Aggravated makes sense when you consider the context, the setting, and basically paint a picture in your mind of what is going on to help you figure out what the word aggravated means. Was she feeling mad, sad, angry? Well, it makes sense to say that Katie was mad or angry when her little sister kept messing up her room. And even when I painted a picture in my head and placed myself in Katie's shoes, non-literally, I was able to feel that same emotion. I was not happy. Aggravated. Katie was aggravated, upset, mad that her little sister kept messing up her room. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. Authors use different types. There's different types of context clues. Again, authors use different types of context clues. There are different types of context clues that we need to be aware of so that we can find out what certain words mean that are tricky to us. One of the different types is examples. A second different type is synonyms. Third, antonyms, and fourth, definitions. Authors use different types of context clues. They might use examples, synonyms, antonyms, or even definitions. For instance, the restaurant's ambient, that is our key word right now we're trying to figure out, including its quiet music, flowers, and candlelight, made it a perfect place for Valentine's Day. If you don't know what the word ambience is, the examples, quiet, music, flowers, and candlelight, let you know that ambience is the special atmosphere or mood of a particular environment. Next, sometimes authors use synonyms or words that mean almost the same thing. Look at the sentence. The author's ability to perform gymnastics was apparent. Or a synonym clue, obvious, makes the sentence easy to understand. The child's ability to perform gymnastics was apparent or obvious at an early age. Sometimes authors will also include antonyms. Antonyms help the reader grasp an unfamiliar word by stating the opposite. Carla, let's look at the sentence. Carla was meticulous with her assignments. Unlike her brother Ralph, who scribbled all over the pages. You don't know what meticulous means. The antonym phrase scribbled all over. To let you know that Carla was neat and careful with her assignments, unlike her brother Ralph. Last but not least, sometimes authors actually provide definitions within the text, if using a less common word. Let's look at the sentence. Abby was repulsed by the spider crawling up her arm. She had a feeling of disgust and dislike. If you're unfamiliar with the word repulse, the author clearly defines it as a feeling of disgust and dislike. So repulse is a feeling of disgust and dislike. Abby was disgusted by the spider crawling up her arm. Abby disliked the spider crawling up her arm. Boys and girls, keep in mind, context clues can be examples, synonyms, antonyms, or definitions.